Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Namaskar. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India. On this day, August 17, 2021, Tuesday, title of talk is Civil Engineering, Field Engineering, Other Engineering, Quality and AnnexSL, COVID-19, SHE Engineer's Role, Designs, Construction, Methods, Contracts, Organizations, Communication, Coordination, and why focus on quality is an issue. Daily, my focus remains on quality of materials and products, quality of individuals and projects. Quality and safety are linked together everywhere, and certifications are very important. If these certificates tell quality must be result, and hazards must be controlled. Do we get that? When I'm talking professionals, I talk of world. And I cannot say that exists no quality all over the world. There is a degree of concern that exists everywhere, and in particular to my home country, Bharat, India, that has been very critical to an extent. Standards of quality is concerned. Despite we have millions and millions professionals in every branch of engineering and also in other branches, non-engineering branches, we have millions and millions doctors. For medical branch, we have millions and millions advocates or lawyers for law branch, and we have millions and millions of, say, accountants, chartered accountants, chemists, other professionals, teachers. You can say only country that have abundance of every professional individuals and persons. Only fortunate country on this planet is ours. That is Bharat, India. Certification is another part, and quality is last part, and hazard control exists everywhere for implementation. So I close these certificates because I don't want to keep every certificate open. So I close this, and now I stick to talk of quality that every day we do. Quality which is absolute right of everyone. Quality which is absolute right of everyone on having good products or good services. Saying that it's right of everyone, it's okay, it's right of everyone, but on top of everything, it's right of product itself. Product shall not ask for rights on its own. Somebody else has to raise that claim. If product is qualityless, I can say no answer to that. If product is qualityless, why should product be qualityless? That's a question. But this is a fact that we don't have reliable quality products in general. Every product you buy and experience, brand name shall be very, very brightly written, and you will be attracted to buy that product by its finishing, by its color, by its statement, given by brand operator on its package and on product, and you will have total attraction towards that. Every manufacturer is very efficient, having writing skills on products, so that one works on that and buys it. Time was there. There was a time long before that such statements were trustworthy, were reliable, and people could do with them in a sincere way. But now it seems that life has changed. Product life has changed. Manufacturers' life have changed, and customers have been totally changed, because neither customer cares for itself nor manufacturer cares for customer. Manufacturer has only one focus: to have progress, to have more progress, to get its financial targets done. And customer cannot do anything, because customer is alone. So there are crores people who buy product, but they are crores in counting. Otherwise, who listens to them? Nobody listens to them. And moreover, customer also thinks, why should I waste my time in this product when there is nothing left in this? Okay, I spend my money and I'll try to save it if it's possible. Well, I'm not going to explain that anymore. You all are customers. You understand what sort of product you get, and you also understand wherever you work. As customer, you are here, but you may be employee of certain manufacturer somewhere, or you may be a professor or a doctor or an engineer, or you may be non-professional, you may be an ordinary citizen. You are all involved in purchasing products, small product or big product, expensive product or normal product. You have experience of that. It is indeed true. Now, what sort of experience you have? You know it very well. I also buy product. I am a professional. I think different way. And I am stating that my experience is not customer pro. My experience is monopoly by manufacturer or by those promoters who produce or who work on real estate or construction or real estate. You can say engineering products, several engineering products supported by major other branches of engineering like electrical, mechanical, IT, and many more. It amounts to probability of 60% of whole budget of a nation. It's not here alone, but also everywhere like that. Because you can see your life is full of engineering products. Maybe you never know it, but you can know it. You are an intelligent, educated person. You can see development means engineering, construction of road, construction of housing, construction of streets, construction of drainage, construction of water supply, construction of sewerage, construction of hydraulic structures, construction of canals, irrigation, construction of, you can say, houses, construction of commercial buildings, construction of hotels, construction of power plants, construction of, you can refer to whatever field of engineering or development. You shall find that construction world plays very important and significant part in our economies, and without this in today's life it's impossible to stay. Even your vehicles, of course, are not civil engineering products, but engineering product. Vehicles, your automobile, you can say, cycles, you can say, aeroplanes, trains, tracks, is there something you can say it doesn't amount or belong to engineering? Really? Really, it's very much extraordinary to think, but we have to think. Quality plays very significant role everywhere, very important role everywhere. If it doesn't play, it cannot work. And quality plays very important role on every professional. When we learn engineering in education time, we learn many subjects. I think in every branch, I remember my branch, there are more than 30 subjects we learn. 30, maybe 35, depends on books. Because sometimes one subject has many subjects, many like we had, in my time, we had structural designs, which was steel structure and RCC and pre-stress. The examination was one. There were 2 or 3 subjects merged in one subject. That way you can say it's very difficult time for 4 or 5 years. At that time was 5 years that we had to study all subjects in 5 years. This means on an average we study 6 subjects per year, and all thick books and 6 subjects studying in 1 year is not easy task, because it is engineering, it's not history or poetry. Engineering requires thorough study, clear conceptual based study. It doesn't refer to any historical event. It depends on scientific development. We have to learn science, physical sciences I mean to say. We have to learn economical science to some extent to understand budget of our project. And we study civics also to some extent to understand how our system works and what is value or what is meaning of human relations with engineers, or you can say workers relation to engineers and engineering world. In addition to mathematics, physics, chemistry, or you can say engineering sciences, just like applied mechanics, strength of materials, theory of structure, surveying, construction, structural design, theory of structure, structural designs otherwise, and whatsoever else there is, fluid mechanics, and many more. I can't count everything here. And every branch of engineering has such subjects. It's not that I'm telling about my engineering. Mechanical engineering also have many more subjects, thermodynamics, heat engines, or you can say electrical engineering also has similar a sequence of subjects and books. So it may be engineering diploma, or it may be engineering degree, or further education. Engineering is a tough volume, considerable volume of books, and those must be read, studied properly, not crammed. In engineering, no cramming can be done. That's also true. If you say you can cram and pass engineering, then you live in dark world. Engineering means clear conception. Your mind should accept what you learn. You cannot say I could not understand, but I will remember this. It's just a joke it is. Nobody can remember. Yes, you can remember spellings of something, or maybe some formula you can remember by cramming if it's to be applied. And many people do that, because derivation of formula is not so easy. There are hundreds and hundreds of formulas in engineering subjects, and they are derived. Some are empirical formula. Those are based on experience. Empirical formula can be remembered, but that are derivable formulas, because in examination also derivation question comes in, so you can't say I cannot answer. You have to derive that on examination sheet. This means if you don't have logical sequence to understand that, you can't understand sequence, you can't write that examination. And numericals are very important in our world. Numericals means questions of calculations, means just not definitions or theory. Their numericals are applications based on that. Those applications based on designs of structure printing, synthesis, and different applications. Because still I find it very challenging to question and to answer that quality is a very big issue which covers all subjects, all branch you can say, all sphere. Quality is always given second weight in education. Reason being that those in education they don't value quality factually. They may say anything. They may say this may teach certain part of quality, but real quality cannot be taught in education because it depends on of experience of work done, and that work is done based on engineering theories, engineering applications, and that can be learned in real world. Engineering of 5 years or 4 years or 6 years or 8 years cannot equip a person to understand reality of life, because engineering is such a vast field that a couple of years don't mean anything. Even sometimes 20 years experience or 30 years experience cannot even completely teach you, and you have to teach self. A one stage comes, sometimes a stage is reached when you say I am a self teacher, and you have to be. And in fact, engineering is only that branch, that profession where self teaching is extremely important. I think no other branch as such exists except engineering, because books are limited in knowledge. Professors are also having limited scope of grasping. Engineering comes from world of applications, or you can say industry, and goes to university. It's not otherwise. It doesn't come from university and goes to field. It's reverse flow. Means work is done in field, and whatever is learned in field through industry, it goes to books and students learn, and there's a gap of about 10 years, you can say. 10 years gap in education and industry. This gap is quite considerable, because in current world 10 years are too heavy, but nobody can deny this fact, because research papers cannot teach you engineering until you do it yourself. Research papers are there, journals are manager, self organizers, you can move further. It's called proactive person. If you're not proactive, you cannot stay in engineering forever. If you are not proactive, you can't survive in engineering, because engineering is not totally paper based. It's work based. If you take example of civil engineering is full of construction. Construction is end product. In whatever discipline of civil engineering, in whatever subject, you can say, first of all, no work is done based on one subject. One work involves many subjects, from its initiation to its final delivery of product. Every product involves many subjects, not only of civil engineering but also linked to mechanical, electrical, and many others. Because machines are involved, equipment are involved, and equipment and machines means mechanical world is involved, electrical world is involved, and now even electronics world is involved. Therefore, I think those people are fortunate who stay in world of engineering, irrespective of what salary they get or money they get, but they use immense power of mind for becoming successful engineering professional. It's difficult to first of all understand engineering in university time, because when mind is very small, of course it's very intelligent and active, but quantum of mind of a student cannot be compared to quantum of mind of experience of pragmatic professional. Engineering education time is very hypothetical, imaginative, because you are immersed in world of books and in world of tutorials, in world of practice, or you can say practical experience, like conducting experiments in laboratory or in workshop. Laboratory, workshop, field work are very common terms in engineering education, and in particularly civil engineering, which is open sky engineering, open to sky engineering. Most of works in engineering are done out of closed door. We have to stay in open areas. 90% of cases are that. Survey you do, whatever you do, construction you start, or you go into irrigation world, you go into construction world, go to any place, whatever place throughout the world, you will have to start just like a farming community farmer does. Start in open and get product in open. Yes, you can say some structures after say 80% of time you are get cover and you stay within, and for staying within that cover you have to stay outside. That is what engineering, you can say, is a sacrificial world. Civil engineering is a field where sacrifice of facilities is very important. If I can't sacrifice my pleasure, my comfort, and I want to stay in civil engineering, well, I think it's very difficult answer. Because even if you are a designer, I mean to say, you have to provide details to some other engineer what to do on site. That's called designer. Designer means complete conception of structure and its detailing, which shall be implemented completely in alliance to designs. There can be no change, no variation on site, and that is called execution or construction. Transformation of design drawings to physical entity is, you can say end engineering, product engineering, without which engineering is not complete. If transformation is successful, engineering is successful. Otherwise, it is incomplete engineering. Design exclusively cannot be called engineering. It's part engineering, and design plus real construction equal to engineering for use. Even design is for use, but if it's not implemented, it doesn't mean anything except to study from academical viewpoint. So my dear, howsoever I say, or I appreciate myself, or I appropriate what people say and what engineering says, wherever you work in planning, in designs, in budgeting, in site, in quality, in safety, you can refer to every field, every discipline in major world of engineering branch. Quality cannot run away. You cannot defy quality. Yes, quality can defy you, that is true. I can't defy quality. I can't defy safety. I can't say health is discarded, safety is discarded, environment is discarded, and ultimately quality is discarded. Then there remains no meaning of engineering world in that case. No one has got any right to spoil any project, to spoil materials, to spoil money, to spoil time, and ultimately to destruct quality in totality. No one has that right. That right is given to none because engineering is engineering. Quality means engineering and engineering means quality. Work means safety and safety means work. If you are not safe, you cannot keep your workers safe, and neither you are safe not your workers are safe. Then who is safe? You can't work because work itself shall not be safe. Safety is important during work, during production, during manufacturing. It's very important. There is no way you can avoid that, and there is no way also that you can say it costs a lot. It doesn't cost a lot. Fact remains. It saves cost. It saves cost differently. Say your worker is involved in fatal accident and that worker dies. First of all, question comes in, who is responsible for that? And then who shall compensate? Who can, because we cannot bring back life, but there must be survivors for that person who has lost life. Who shall help them throughout life? You may say we'll get compensation through insurance. No, that's not an answer. Life has gone. Nobody can compensate it. Yes, insurance can support financially, manufacturer can support financially, but that loss has become permanently deficient in that family. It's very sad time when it happens. But it happens because of ignorance by others, not automatically. Sometimes, haphazard work is done in a way that is completely haphazard. Because of some panic or some nervous, or say time is going, we are wasting time, we have to report. So what people mistakenly, or you can say unknowingly do, they push work. There remains pressure to push work to get progress, because progress of work means money. Progress of work means money, and you have to get money. You are bound on contract, and that is time bound, money bound, or many other factors bound. But quality, you think, is not a binding factor. While it's completely untrue, quality is only a binding factor, because it's not only product quality, but also quality of how to work, quality of best use of time, quality of best use of material, quality of best use of human resources, and quality of best use of human resources as well as machines or equipment. I'm not trying to reflect to you what is engineering. You know very well. Engineering is known to everybody who are engineering workers or engineering professors or engineering professionals. Engineering starts from day one when we enter whatever institution or university or polytechnic or even in industrial training institutes. All are engineering related bodies. From very start, you can say, in fact, engineering starts from secondary school itself. If you are a real engineer, you have to start thinking from there. When you study mathematics, you study physics and chemistry. That starts operation, very basic operation of learning of engineering, because these are basic subjects without which you cannot do at least civil, electrical and mechanical engineering. That's not question of choice, it's question of requirement. And you cannot say, I don't want to learn now, I will learn after I become an engineer. Means that's completely misleading understanding, misleading statement, and one should not mislead like that. Mathematics is fundamental of engineering, is basics of engineering, and all engineering, all branches, all disciplines of engineering depend on mathematical knowledge, and depend of logical knowledge. And logical knowledge means understanding of materials, understanding of physics, and understanding of chemistry, and understanding of many other subjects in true spirit. That mind should grasp everything. That's where quality plays very important role. Means what sort of quality do you have while you study? It's not simply work. Study must have quality. What's your way of learning subject? How do you learn? Are you totally guided by your teacher or professor, or you can become part of your teacher? Those people, those students who become part of their own teacher, I think they can perform in studies very well. Because just somebody should teach you is not enough. You should understand that and then continue to teach. It doesn't mean that you are going against them. It means you are just advancing yourself. That gives you proaction power. Though you are a student, but you are, despite being a student, you are a teacher of your own. And secondary school is basics of this. Then you go to university or institution or polytechnic or ITI. You shall lead yourself. You cannot say today my teacher taught this only, I cannot teach, I cannot learn further. Teacher's duty is to guide you, but your duty is to move further, and that is called standard of quality. If you say no, I can't go any further because my teacher did not say that, this means you can't plan. When you are a student in your university or in your home, school, you have your own timetable. You formulate it yourself. I would do this in this time and do in this time and do in this time. That's what planning is. It's basics. Though maybe your teacher guides you, but that's very basic part of planning. You can arrange how to use your time. So that student, even in primary school, does it. Maybe at that time student is not very smart. In middle school we do it, and in higher school or secondary schools we do it. This means planning comes from very infancy stage. Planning means what to do, when to do, how long it's going to take to do. That's so simple, means it's planning. Just like you stay 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, or 14 hours a day, both in your school or in your home, and you plan accordingly. This time I'm going to study. Your timetable of school is fixed, but when you come back home, you have few hours left to study, to play, to eat, to sleep, and you chart out every hour, or your parents support you for charting out that, or your teacher advises you or orders you what to do. Take this homework and go and do it. And every step is empirically or by experience meant for use to you. But unfortunately, those teachers have been unable to point out that this is also planning. Day-to-day planning, weekly planning, planning for examinations, how to study, how to use time. So we are not those smart people who every day consider examination. We are that type of society which considers only a small part of year as examination part, while my understanding is different. Every day is examination part, every hour examination part. Examination doesn't mean formal examination. Examination also means you examine yourself, how far you have reached, how much you understood. I know every student in class cannot be equally intelligent. There are variations. But how much can you pick up? You know. So when I was a student, I could not understand something. I was hesitant to even ask. Then I said, okay, I'll later on study this. Means I had no courage to even raise question in class. Okay, no problem, I can't understand this. I'll study from books, or somebody else would explain to me. It happens. And some people even don't take notes. They say, okay, I'll take from someone else. So like that you can say, it depends on what sort of student you are. And you have variations in your standard of student. That's result that once you develop that habit, I learn later. I can't speak now. I'm lazy. So many parameters work there. And you make a habit to learn it later and you then go on wasting time. So that's where you call, though examination you will pass indeed, you will get 40% marks, 45% marks, or on average, and you will pass examination. Examination passing is not very important here. Examination viewing is important, your own viewing, your own self-assessment, as we call it, is more important than examination, because examination is conducted for 3 or 4 hours. I don't know how many hours now, but that is different type of examination, and we cannot generalize standard of student by that activity of examination. That must be very clear. This is quality factor lies there also. I say quality lies, it required everywhere. That is true. Quality applies everywhere, in every activity in life, and student life is that one. In engineering, professional life is that one. And these quality and safety are a must. In the school you play also, you interconference also. Though you don't feel that you conference, but when interact with your colleagues or students, classmates, that's also a kind of world of debate. Though it may not be formal, but how to argue, how to give logic, how to defy the student, all these actions, competitions go on in that life of student. But there is no focus on decisions. Learning is very important. Learning has no limit, and engineering is such a vast subject that you learn whole life, it will never end. But it will not give you money if you think by learning you'll get money. Don't go that way, because money is not, you can't buy engineering by money. Money cannot buy engineering. Mind can buy engineering. If you think money shall buy your engineering or engineering shall pay you money, don't equate like that. This is equation of life. Means sometimes you work a lot, you should expect a lot indeed, but it doesn't happen. It's like charity sometimes, and you consider that you do for sake of doing. You are engineer for sake of engineering. Of course you shall have means of living, but engineering doesn't mean that it is your money automatically come to you. And if you have money, what money you have come, what's the value, and you compare it to your skill. No, engineering is not comparable to that. Engineering is brilliance. Engineering is total quality, and engineering is application everywhere. Engineering means life. Engineering means proof. Engineering means work. Engineering means product. Engineering means real world of physics and chemistry. Engineering means availability of mind, use of mind, application of mind. And mind is such a wealth, such a powerful wealth, that real wealth doesn't mean anything if you say my mind is wealth. If you can think your mind is wealth, this means you are intelligent, and if you do not think, you are not intelligent, because you don't care for mind. For me, mind is more valuable than whole world. And also, there are only 2 or 3% people in whole world who have intellectual minds. Intellectual means real intellectuals who can do logical based work in life, fruitful work, scientific work, engineering work. Quality means every word is quality for me, and I can't exit from there. Quality compliance is mandatory. It's not that you don't want or you want. That's irrespective of that. Even if you don't want to do quality, you have to do quality. And you want to do quality, you have to do specific quality plus. No future if no quality, because your material shall go waste if it is qualityless. Your effort shall go waste if it is qualityless. You have to understand that. Safety first we say. Safety first we call in work, that safety first. If you know what is safety and you abide by that, you comply with that, you shall not feel any pain in your working time. or otherwise. And if you don't understand safety, you don't want to do safety, certainly you have to know pain. What is pain? Pain always, you can say, annoys you, always annoys you, distracts you. But if pain is curable immediately or preventive, it's better than something. So in safety, health and environment subjects, we are taught how to take preventive measures, because prevention is always better than cure. Cure is end, that there was no other way. We resorted to curing, and that's what I say. Prevention means engineering. If there are hazards that come on your way, you must have thought prevention much before the hazards have to come, because you could never expect what hazards would be. Yes, we know hazards, but what sort of hazards would be until either you have experience of that, or you can say, we'll see how it happens. That's what I say, important part of engineering, and we cannot move without that. We cannot move without that. And I again say from time to time that engineers must realize quality facts. Engineers must realize quality facts, and in particular, civil engineers have to change quality aspect of society, or else quality cannot exist. And reason is, civil engineers means society. We use this word civil. I don't know how this word came into being, that is a different story, but this is for civics, this is for people, this is people engineers. This is engineers who are involved in development of society, development of world. But now, since mechanization has gone up, electronization has gone up, civil engineers cannot be said to be exclusively responsible, but involved to be responsible in many ways. First of all, civil engineering is very expensive, materials are expensive. It's not small item, it has every item. It has interconnectivity with other disciplines, air conditioning, mechanical world, or you can say chemistry world, physics world, electrical world. So many other subjects work with civil engineers, and civil engineers also work with so many other subjects. If powerhouse is to be built, if nuclear reactors to be built, plants are to be built, where mechanical items are very expensive, but civil are quantitatively expensive, time was expensive. So different speech, you can say. Development means engineering world rather than saying civil engineering world. Engineering world is development world, and engineering world is quality world. Quality is vast, it is enormous in engineering, and interconnectivity, interlinked, it's not simply enormous, it is dependent on each other. Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, other engineerings, all are dependent on each other just to support society, support industry, support factory, support applications. It's very important part to understand that quality cannot exist in isolation. Quality means work. If there is work, it should have quality, otherwise there can be no quality. If you don't work, there can be no quality. You cannot say I worked in quality of air or water. Work means quality, and if quality factor, quality part doesn't have the, it doesn't work. If there's no quality involved, you are unable to include quality while producing something. This means you yourself are not quality person. You are not been taught what is quality, what's process, what's procedure. It happens. It's therefore very important part, I can say, that engineers should have highest degree of pride that they deal with quality. I am very annoyed sometimes. I'm very surprised sometimes when I see those who should develop this world, those engineers who are highest professionals as far as mind is concerned, by measuring intellectual level, by measuring their concentration level, by measuring their dedication and devotion. You can't find other professionals that way, because here concept is required, which everybody has different one. A philosophy is required, philosophical idea is required, then physical items are required once design is done, and those items are materials which come from nature, machines which are based on materials, and you can say designs, human resources, all such supports are very important in engineering. And these supports, when how these should be achieved or required or procured, what is strength, if you do this much or that much. You can say everywhere a thought, a contemplation is very significant. And if you can do that, well, I think we can do justice with everybody. Systems quality can be devised and achieved, and without that system, nothing can be done. That system is not built, it is thought of and created. It's devised, as I say, designed. It's made a device, so not physical device, but a kind of procedural device, method device. Systems quality is devised, and not only devised but also achieved. And if system is broken system means broken life linked to broken system. If you break system or don't care system, you cannot get quantity as well as quality that you plan. Or if you get that will be not according to what you defined in quality world. Quality requires definition of mark you want to get. Individual quality is extremely important. It's much more important than product quality, because product quality is repetitive. At some stage it is automatically produced, manufactured, but individual quality is always enriched or lost. If you think of quality and just apply even 1% improvement at every time you produce it, you can say in 10 attempts you can improve 10%, and it's very, very accommodative that I apply improvement in whatever way on that product, and a stage comes in, then that product can be called enriched quality product. By experience, by repetition, by quantum, you can say cost is automatically reduced, because it's okay, everything is not mechanized, but when people know more and more how to do it best, certainly quality and quantity products, or you can say value, shall rise. If you produce more and more, you will get more and more, and you will know more and more at every stage where you made mistakes. Lesson you will learn, and that lesson you will apply in next work. That's where we move. Individual quality is of extreme importance. It's much more important, as I said, material quality, because material quality cannot be changed. Material that exists in nature, in crust of lithosphere, we extract from there all materials, and that material may be having mix-up of quality, it may be having variations in our sound compositions, but we have to use it by whatever way. Individual can understand it different way. Those materials we cannot change, except with certain exceptions, but individuals can be trained further and further practically. I'm not saying for training you have to go to university. because your work itself is a university. Your site is another university. Your design room is another university where you can learn more and more and you can do more and more. Flexibility factors rises and falls there. If you think on same product and apply correction, you will learn it further and further and you have more conception on that. And that you can say as professional, it's your job to learn it as much as one can. I don't want to take much more time in quality, but you can say relevant element, involved element or product defined. Quality to be achieved, that quality is to be achieved. Individuals required attitude, quality to be streamlined, that's very important. Individuals' dedication to be applied on actions, work commitment to be made and fulfilled for delivery. All other parameters to deal with per requirement and designs of structures and others must be decisive, safe and qualitative and must be reliable for prosecution. All stage designs are significant, but it is also understood that merely design is not at end. Design always is located at some you can say sandwich or middle stages. It's not last one. Yes, it's experiment, of course. We can conduct experiments, no doubt. But design doesn't suffice alone. If construction doesn't exist, if construction and development are not affected to specified marks, required or defined quality cannot be allowed to be ignored. Drawings must have quality input or duly coordinated these should be to produce working details, keeping abreast site working conditions for site cannot be relied upon automatically but provide clear notes, specify properly and explicitly. If world has become smarter, I can say world has become less smarter also. What happens if you go into studying society or research society? Factor of reliability has deteriorated. Reliability maybe many times I explained an equation is written here. To some extent it is true that safety is involved in that, services is involved in that, and durability is involved in that, cost is involved in that, and you can say system is involved in that. And knowledge is very important. Whatever knowledge we have, how much we have, and how to transmit that knowledge to reliability equation is very much significant part. Reliability, as I said, has been deteriorated because you so-called fake state of art. Fake I am saying because we have not understood very well what is state of art. Something we do new and we say this is state of art, but we never defined what is a state of art. Everything cannot be defined, that is true, but understanding is very important. If you consider current generation, youth, educated one or otherwise, and others all over the world, COVID-19, I'm just stressing COVID-19, can be referred to very well as an example that did not allow scientists, doctors, experts to know about itself. It has been more than expected duration, around 2 years or less, and we are not so intelligent till now. We have not proved to be intelligent till now what actually it is. Despite we have chain of qualified certificates, we have doctorates, postdoctorates, and all classes of educated scientists that have failed so far to point out this is what it is. Means facts are unknown and we want to move forward. What happens? Everybody on its own domain tries to do something. One says one thing, other guy says another thing. You can say real science also disappeared. It's only competitive science that has been left. You do first or I do first. And that doesn't solve any problem. Just like body cannot say I will respire later on. You do something else. There is a complete coordination in body itself. Our body. It's internally coordinated because of requirement. If we are not qualitative people, we cannot move, to be very frank. We have to be qualitative everywhere, in every field. And reliability is very important. Even I am a student, I have to be a reliable student. That's part here. My purpose of showing this file was to refresh you, to remind you that what we should do. I am not saying quality is not implemented. It is implemented but not to an extent required. Sorry. Even 5% defect can cause a problem in system, in material, in product. Even 5% can cause that. We should try to get it fully done. And that's not practically possible because we are not responsible, we are not dedicated. And I am not blaming, this is observation I am giving. Our system has been very expensive that we cannot implement word by word. If that is a state that our system is not reliable, we have to make system reliable first. And then we have to work within that system and make sure that system, whatever we adopt, should be competent enough that we get quality product. That's only aim of system. Otherwise there is no need of system. We can't say, oh no, quality is not my responsibility, but I am following system. How can you justify this? But I cannot claim about quality, but I am following system. And this system you are following. That's the point here. This means your system is no system. It's just a chance that you fail if you don't get it, you pass if you get it. No, engineering is no chance. It's life. Just like medical is no chance, it's requirement. Same way for development. Engineering is a medicine. Engineering is treatment for involved problems. We have to be very sensitive towards that. We have to be very sensitive to understand our world. Again I say, analysis. Analysis is very important part in engineering. I understand as a civil engineer in designs, analysis is very basics. Analysis, theory of, we can say theory of structures, and we call strength of materials, applied mechanics, such subjects. These are all analytical subjects. There is nothing in these that can be remembered, that can be written without references. There is nothing in these classified subjects, in very significantly classified high-level subjects, which can remain with the engineer forever. It's not that you pass examination and you forget these subjects. You cannot forget because you have to use them in your profession. It's very important. You have to use that in profession. So analysis is a life of individual. Life itself becomes analysis tool, analytical tool for completing something. And no need explaining that because you all know about this. Analysis. And analysis means its foundation is thinking. Analysis is a structure on which your thinking stands. And we can say, what's quantum of then about material? It's material. Analysis is material because you are doing analysis of material. Analysis of forces means whatever we consider that way. And thinking, as I said, thinking is foundation stone of that. Without thinking, you cannot do anything. And I also said, thinking is engineering unit. Elementary unit of thinking, unit of engineering is thinking, and thinking cannot do engineering if thinking is defective, or thinking could not allow engineering to come in. Thinking means everywhere, in all parts of life. Thinking person is very useful, is very important, and those engineers whose job is to think only. Think means not thinking alone, doing also. If you think rightly and if it's worth, certainly you shall not find not problem in doing that. This happens. Therefore, thinking is free. Your thinking should be constructive. It should be focused, not simply thinking. I'm thinking of film. I'm thinking of the story of that film. I'm thinking of that essay. No, not that. Thinking means also expression is required. You have to produce somewhere. These days you can make video, you can write, you can do whatever. It should be comprehensively done. Comprehensively dealing of thinking, target or focus thinking, application thinking, all these are required in quality system. If your thinking is quality systemized, you will be very happy that I got something to do. It happens in life. It happens in profession. Nobody knows who has to go first. That's also true. So I don't want to bore you any further. I'll simply say, let's go back to our for everybody. We remember that we tried to have some knowledge about hazards, and we were on our hazards that last time. I think we were somewhere in steel fixing. No, steel fixing is a lot of work to do. Where were we? We were somewhere in it is rock blasting. Rock drilling we did, electrical work we did, I think electrical we did, rock drilling we did. Let me repeat it. Rock drilling says cables, pipelines buried underground, maybe, I'm not sure, but it can be. Existing structures, building noise. What says control measures in this? Cable detection tools to be used prior to rock drilling in order to determine presence of live cables. Services records drawings to be used to determine routes of these cables or pipeline. Trial hand digging or excavation to be conducted in order to verify existing live cables, pipelines routes. Temporary sharing or supporting of existing foundations, buildings to be carried out prior to commencement of rock drilling. Personnel carrying out drilling work shall wear safety helmets, gloves, safety footwear, and hearing protection. Unauthorized personnel should not be allowed in areas where rock drilling is being conducted or undertaken. Rock blasting, use of explosive and noise control measures. Only trained and experienced shot firers to be permitted to use explosives. Adequate planning based on area requirement shall be conducted for a safe operation. Before explosives are used, a written statement of work shall be prepared. Personnel involved in blasting operation must be made aware of safe system of work prior to be followed. Consideration shall include blast mats, audible alarms, site inspection, or visual warning signs shall be posted around area likely to be affected by blast. Effective actions effective actions shall be taken effective actions shall be taken to ensure that danger area is clear of all personnel, animals immediately before firing is commissioned. An audible means of giving warning alert that an explosion shot is about to fire and to sound all clear to be provided. Police site personnel and other relevant authorities shall be noticed of shot firing such timings. Existing foundations, pipes in vicinities of rock blasting shall be protected by shoring. It's to be made sure that blasting does not cause adverse impact on environment. Should area be located in vicinity of residences and other accommodations, relative notification should be made for all residents so that adequate precautions are made. It's to be made to sure that vibrations transferred to such buildings are to a minimum level and accelerations produced do not cause any impact on such structures. Explosive shall be managed, organized for use and storing in such a way that it complies with regulations. Say blasting, rock blasting we call it, and it's very common. It's nothing new in technology. You know the detonation, the explosives you use, how it is done, and generally it's done only after permission is obtained. It cannot be done otherwise. So it's a very important item. That's why it was been taken in that, and we may study it later on. What is this explosives? How it impacts? We'll go further now and study another activity is earthworks. I'll take this blasting in some time because my computer is doing scanning also. So if I open more sites, it may cause some sort of problem. So say earthwork. Earthwork. What is earthwork? Excavation is earthwork. Backfill is earthwork. Removing, in road work particularly, it's very important. In buildings, it's very important. And wherever you do it, in fact, it's important. So what's involved in that is movement of heavy mobile plant, without which excavation cannot be even thought of. If you don't have mobile plant, you don't have many machines. See, movement of heavy mobile plant, then dust and then noise. These 3 points are given. There will be more also, but let's consider these. Because a question of earthwork, and earthwork means excavation, it means backfill, and it means so many other items. Compaction, part of backfill. Dust also you said, as I said, part of environment. So what are measures in earthwork? Measures. Drivers, operators and banksmen of mechanical plant and equipment shall be adequately trained made competent and at least would be adult, not kids, means above age of 18 or maybe 21. Only authorized drivers and operators shall be allowed to use plant and equipment, and that's very important point. You cannot give that machine to whosoever is interested. One should have license and should have experience, and how to care of that plant and machine or equipment is also a part. Some practical knowledge must be imparted to that person before that person starts working on machines independently. You can say drivers and operators to be trained to requirement, not only in correct operation of plant and equipment, but also in limitations of use and possible involvement on hazard risks if equipment not used properly. Preventive maintenance program to be established to ensure that all plant and equipment are systematically inspected, serviced, repaired and maintained as necessary prior to earthwork commences. All overhead and buried electrical cables and other pipeline shall be identified for adopting precautions to prevent damage to these services. No required personnel shall be kept distant from area of operation, and trained banks persons should be provided wherever necessary. Measures shall be taken to prevent dusty conditions from impairing visibility by use of water spray on roads, and if practicable, one-way system for traffic to be followed. Sight speed limits be set and strictly enforced so as to cause an obstruction to other plant. You can say plant items should not be parked in such a location, just like speed limit is to be controlled. Plant items should not be parked in such a location so as to cause an obstruction to other plant or site activities, or so close together as to cause danger to working personnel in vicinity. Stacking system to be operated away from area of activity if required. I repeat this para. It says, first, sight speed limit to be set up and strictly enforced. All personnel shall drive defensively. That's important. Defensive means you keep yourself safe first and then let other be safe. Even other person is ignorant, you have to be safe. How you are safe, that's very important point, because you have to chart out your safety first. Then plant items should not be parked in such a location so as to cause an obstruction to other plants or site activities, or so close together as to cause the neighborhood. A stacking system to be operated from area of activity if required. Plant shall be fitted with reversing alarms. Operations should wear safety helmets, safety footwears and high visibility vests. Drivers should not remain on vehicle loaded while being loaded. Drivers should not remain on vehicle being loaded unless a suitable overhead protective canopy is provided. Personnel should stand well clear of loading operations. Personnel shall be instructed to establish contact with driver prior to walking in path of a vehicle. Sleeping under or against vehicles is strictly prohibited. So it said drivers should not remain on a vehicle being loaded unless a suitable overhead protective canopy is provided. Personnel should stand well clear of loading area or operation. Personnel shall be instructed to establish contact with driver prior to walking in path of a vehicle. Sleeping under or against vehicles is strictly prohibited. That is, I think, these are main points. Now we'll go to hazards analysis. You can say site transport. I'm just giving some habits. I mean, certain items which do not require that much, you can say, base information from internet, but I'll try to collect after these statements are over. I think only one or two statements more. We will jump onto that to find something very specific from that viewpoint. It's site transport. What it says: vehicle pedestrian interface, site conditions, contact with structures, overhead lines, and vehicle defects, falls into excavations. These are few points that we could gather because of site is involved, structures are involved, overhead lines are involved, vehicles are involved, and excavations are involved. Maybe dewatering involved later. That's site transport. Control measures are: site conditions shall be taken into account in selection of plant. That's very basics. Drivers to be fully trained in election of plant and be aware of limitations of machines as well as concerning safe operating procedures. Vehicles shall be maintained in an efficient condition. Vehicles shall be maintained in an efficient condition or state, in efficient working order, and be in good working mode. Basic maintenance to be carried out by driver, operator on a daily or weekly basis. Whatever defects found shall be repaired before vehicle is put back into service. Periodic servicing of vehicles be carried out in accordance with manufacturer's instruction. Periodic servicing of vehicles to be carried out in accordance with manufacturer's instruction. Speed limits shall be established and clearly displayed for travelling on site haul road. Personal working adjacent to haul roads should wear high visibility jackets and suitable warnings to be displayed so that all such personnel are easily and clearly visible to operator drivers. Possibility of vehicles coming into contact with overhead structures or power lines shall be reduced by erecting height gauge of gauge posti. Height gauges of gauge posti. Personnel working adjacent to haul roads should wear high visibility jackets and suitable warnings to be displayed so that all such personnel are easily and clearly visible to operators and drivers. Possibility of vehicles coming into contact with overhead structures or power lines shall be reduced by erecting height gauges of go ahead post type constructed from non-conducting materials, distinctively marked with red and white strips or pistons. Possibility of vehicles coming into contact with overhead structures of power lines shall be reduced by erecting height gauges of goat post type constructed from non-conducting materials or bunting. Strips or bunting. Drivers to be instructed not to leave vehicles while vehicles engine running. Drivers to be instructed not to carry unauthorized persons or passengers. Safe working procedures shall be planned in order to reduce possibility of personnel being struck by reversing vehicles. Safe working procedures shall be planned in order to reduce possibilities of personnel being struck by reversing vehicles. This may include number 1, avoiding need avoiding need to reverse by providing one-way system of movement, exclusion of pedestrians from areas where vehicles have to reverse, and provision of banksmen, fitting of reversing alarms to vehicles. Then vehicles shall be prevented from falling into inches. Fitting of reversing alarms to vehicles. Vehicles shall be prevented from falling into excavations by a clearly marking haul road and securely fencing of immediate excavations area. B. Providing a banksman to guide vehicle and warn personnel in excavation to keep clear. Then you can say providing a banksman to guide vehicle and warn personnel in excavation to keep clear. And C. By providing a fixed stop, namely timber bulk, securely encode well-being back from edge. By providing a fixed stop, timber bulk securely anchored well back from edge. Vehicles should not be overloaded and loads to be evenly distributed and secured and not by providing a fixed stop, that's timber bulk securely anchored well back from edge. Vehicles should not be overloaded and loads to be evenly distributed, secured and not projecting beyond one side or back of vehicle, on sides and back of vehicle. If some projection is unavoidable, load to be properly marked in order to ensure their vehicles whilst vehicles are being loaded with loose materials. We can say drivers should not remain in their vehicles whilst vehicles are being loaded with loose materials. Loading and unloading of tipper trucks shall be attended by a competent banksman. Tipper trucks should not be allowed to move off until body has been lowered. Dumpers should not be allowed to travel with body in a raised position unless including forward to discharge its load. Dumpers should not be allowed to travel with body in a raised position unless inching forward to discharge its load. Connections between trailer and towing units shall be securely fixed using correct towing pin and trailer parking brakes applied before disconnection from towing vehicle. So I would say I'll have to think of the hazards, and we've gone through this file, read it. This one by one. I'll be back. Meanwhile, I'll be back. Meanwhile, you can say. We have to go through other issues, other topics, and let me give you list also. I can say what are job hazards, and certain definitions are here. Meanwhile, you can move on that just to see. And I'll be back in 10 minutes time, 5 minutes time, and we'll come back to other statement, and that is confined space entry also. Confined space entry, meanwhile you can just have a look on this.